Hello Internet, I'm the Disney Brain and welcome to the Liv and Maddie review. It's been a while, but we're finally back with the Rooneys as we discuss the first of the last two episodes of Season 3. Spoiler warning now, since a lot happens in this one, so if you want to go in fresh, you know what to do. With all that said, let's dive into Skyvolt or Rooney. We start things off with Liv and Maddie preparing to graduate from high school. Willow shows up and does her normal Joey obsession thing, but good old Joe reacts a bit differently this time around. After all this time, it's finally come to his attention that he just might have feelings for Willow. So, in light of that, Parker and the others help him plan out a very special evening, where they plan to live out the entirety of their high school relationship in 5 minutes. And I gotta say, it was a pretty nice way to have the two get together. And even though it felt very reminiscent of another pair we know who ran into a similar time crunch en route to the airport, this episode does well to not parallel that instance completely. And it actually makes sense that Joey starts feeling the way he does when he does. It's so easy to overlook someone when they're always around, but when change starts to happen and people start to leave, it modifies the way you think. I didn't think something like this was going to happen, since I assumed Willow would at some point just get over Joey and date someone else, but this was a pleasant surprise. On the Voltage side of things, Gemma informs Liv that production is moving back to California, seeing as how Liv has graduated from high school. This creates a situation where Liv can either move with production or give up being Skyvolt, which is kind of a silly ultimatum when you consider the idea that it's probably a lot less expensive to film in Stevens Point. But in any case, Liv talks it over with Maddie and eventually decides that she could just go to college at Beloit with her, even though she never applied to the school, or any college for that matter. But Beloit does have a rolling admissions policy based on space availability, so I think they got lucky on that one. This leads to what amounts to a full-scale episode of Voltage, something we've only seen bits and pieces of to this point, and it actually works pretty well. Some of the acting in the show within a show is pretty flat, but it's still better than some actual high-budget superhero movies, relatively speaking. In the end, it's revealed that Liv convinced Gemma to kill off her character in the show while transferring the power to Josh's character and having him be the next Skyvolt. Jeez, if this had occurred in the real world, where a female protagonist was straight up replaced with a male one, the audience reaction would probably be very mixed at best, so this was an interesting choice, but definitely a better choice than replacing Liv altogether. But I think on the whole, the episode within an episode that we got was really fun. So the episode ends with Willow contacting Maddie, explaining that SCSU now has an unfilled point guard position and they plan to contact Maddie to give her a full scholarship to play there. But as we know, that means having to choose either her dream school or coming to Beloit and being with both Papa Rooney and Liv. And that's Skyvolt or Rooney, an episode that delivers well in all three phases. The Joey-Willow romance was handled well, the Skyvolt episode was very engaging, and the choice that Maddie now has to confront going into the season finale feels like a real one of real stakes, as opposed to the last choice she made, which felt more lifeless and, when you think about it, wasn't even really her choosing, it was Josh stepping down. Guys, here's the truth. I decided to take a small break from reviewing this show because the last couple of episodes were either disappointing, lifeless, or a combination of both. Very few moments stood out as special or memorable, and nothing about what they were doing with Josh and Maddie worked out at all on a narrative level. But this episode, and hopefully the one that follows it, is the best I've seen from the show since Ridgewood or Rooney. It felt like the breath of fresh air Liv and Maddie really needed. It's enjoyable on all levels, engaging on all fronts, and delivers some actual tension with a cliffhanger that doesn't have an obvious answer. Everything about this particular episode functions well, but also focuses on just having fun before ending with a decision to be made that's actually important for a change. I anticipate that the question will be asked anyway, so I'll give my own thoughts as to what I think Maddie should decide. From my own perspective, I think that she should go to SCSU. I think that being able to play basketball at her dream school on a full ride is financially responsible and can open a lot of doors for her down the line if she does eventually want to turn pro, since we do know for a fact that basketball players from there make that transition. Beloit would be a smaller and more comfortable environment, but wouldn't provide her with as much personal growth as spending 4 years on the West Coast in a completely new environment surrounded by all manner of races, ethnicities, and ways of life. That having been said, we know that this show will have a fourth and final season, so I wouldn't be too surprised if Maddie ended up choosing Beloit over SCSU if they actually end up filming some episodes with Liv and Maddie in college. But if season 4 is just the summer, then Maddie could potentially choose SCSU and have the series finale be the twins going their separate ways. But either way, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, and what it could mean for the last 20 or so episodes of the show. All in all, a really good episode. Give it a watch and see for yourself. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, throw down a like, sub for more, and share it all over the internet. And don't forget to follow the Disney Brain on Facebook and Twitter for updates. Links down below. The coming days will finally bring the Teen Beach 2 DCOM review, as well as the next Girl Meets World review at the end of the week, and a little later on, we'll finally be taking a closer look at the DCOM Zapped. So, plenty to look forward to. Until then...
one more memory that I'd still like us to have.
Joey! My man!
Yeah, that seems fair.